This is not another flat earth video. This is just a tribute. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Easy Reefers Fish Room. And this is not a flat earth video, this is not a flat earth channel, but I want to talk about, once again, the whole flat earth theory thing. See, my stance has always been, you don't know, because people have been lying to you. I can prove people have been lying to you, but I can't prove whether or not the earth is shaped like a fucking pizza pie. I don't. It could be shaped like a donut for all I know. I don't know. Because I've never been to space and looked at the earth for myself, so I don't know. And neither do you, because you've never been to space and looked at the earth for yourself. And the reason why that is the standard is because we've proven that we've been lied to. We've basically been told to bow down before these people as if they had achieved some sort of level of science that equates them to godhood. Meanwhile, they can't tell you how far you're supposed to be able to see something on the horizon, and if you see something further than they tell you, oh, there's like light bending, and they're nothing they say makes any fucking sense. And there's evidence after evidence that they've faked. There's illusion after illusion that we've proven. So they're bullshitters. They're con artists. That's been my entire stance on this has been from the perspective of government wastefulness. Okay? They're con artists. I don't think the whole government or even major parts of it know. I think they just want to charge way too much for rockets. I don't know what keeps smudging my lenses. Right, exactly. How many problems could the budget of NASA have solved right here on Earth without needing to learn anything from space? Could have prevented Katrina from destroying New Orleans. Could have provided enough oversight to prevent the economic collapse of 2008. Could have provided enough national security to prevent Trump from taking over with the assistance of our most powerful foreign enemy. Could have researched ways to clean up pollution that don't cut into profit margins. We could have launched a federal social media platform and revolutionized democracy. Yep, if all those really people stop being NASA's fanboys and start putting their minds and resources into solving the world's problems, there wouldn't be a whole lot of problems left to solve. Because, man, space is expensive. Yeah. So, anyways. There's just all kinds of different little channels trying to pop up and get people interested in the NASA Opportunity rover. But these days, you don't have to be someone who's interested in flat Earth or aliens or anything to be kind of pissed off that we're spending money on NASA. Like, do you know anybody who right now thinks that we can afford to be launching fucking robots to Mars? Huh.
When I was down last night, you know, when I went on my little mini trip, there was a van I saw that had NASA stickers all over it, and somebody had taken, like, you know how like the at the bottom of the rockets they have the three little things where, like, you know, it pushes up or whatever. It had it on the back of the van, like, so apparently that person thinks that we have enough money to send cars into space. Sorry.
That must be the van that Elon Musk used to stalk little boys at middle schools in.
I think it was outside of Jesuit that I saw it. Come to think of it. Now that you mention it.
So apparently, we have one exception. Pedophiles think NASA is just a perfectly good use of money. My wife is dying over here. She just laughed so hard she did a drum roll with her feet. There. Okay. There's just too much algae. Oh, we get a stomatella spawn.
Oh.
Some sort of Napoli on the glass. So, yeah. Maybe they didn't let me take physics in high school the way they just oddly ruled me out of that class, even though I was one of the smartest kids in school. If not, hands down, the smartest kid in school. Like, as in, that school had ever fucking seen, basically. That's kind of how they treated me. Maybe they knew. He's too smart to go to NASA. Don't let him get on that path. Don't let him get into physics. He'll wind up getting a job for NASA. And what they won't be able to see is what we can see about him, is that he questions everything. And if we let him go to work for NASA, with his background, combat skills, martial arts experience, there's no way we could fucking contain him. And yes, I already had combat skills when I was in high school.
They just didn't want you to take on our physics teacher's habits, like calling everything good stuff and whatnot. That's why you weren't allowed to take physics, because they didn't want you walking around saying everything was good stuff.
Because I gave the earth science and the bio teachers hard enough time? Because the classroom would be facing me more than it would be facing them? You know, I had a lot of things just making me want to kill myself, but I at least had that. I had a little bit of a self-esteem boost, a little bit of a feeling that my life was going to amount to something. Boy, was I wrong, but...
Right? Tell me about it.
Everybody said you're going to be a millionaire by the time you're 25. Because I was just, you know, ideas every day. Ideas about business, ideas about what businesses should be doing. Fucking... I was literally a 15-year-old who could outclass most CEOs. Oh, what do they know? They knew more about finance and shit. I knew more about people and products. I would have been just taught all the corporate bullshit, all the finance lingo. Well, I would have been a fully capable corporate CEO when I was fucking 15 years old. I'd imagine so, Mr. Conway. I'd imagine so. You don't wind up as curious about the world without that kind of potential. Just for the record, for people watching, it wasn't just become our names are Sean. What?
Sure. Y'all just want to leave the rest of it.
In fact, I will go so far as to say is that the majority of people named Sean are kind of unimaginative douchebags. That's what makes the rare special Sean so very special. Because all the other Seans in the universe had to be just as monotonous as molasses. Just so a few Seans could just be awesome. You know, it's like the complete opposite of like Gary. You know? Garys are all slightly cool. But none of them ever really achieve greatness. See? Like Gary Shandling is about the best they could come up with.
Gary Kettler? Oh, I don't know. Considering what I know.
How many awesome Steves do you know? See there. You're better off on the average as being named Steve. But nobody gives a fuck about Steve.
Is there like a song that the children sing about Steve?
But chances are, if they hear your name Sean, they're gonna roll their eyes. Oh, not another fucking Sean. Please let it be that one kind of weird, crazy Sean that comes out of the woodwork every now and again. Oh, please let it be that kind of Sean. Not the typical Sean. Those guys are fucking unbearable. Now, the only thing more extreme, while still maintaining some level of gumption, is Josh. See, like, most Seans are really annoying, you know, pretty annoying, just kind of, eh. And then you got the one rare Sean that's fucking awesome, right? Well, most Joshes own old white vans with NASA stickers all over them. Oh, look how I tied that in, like a real comedian or something. Most Joshes are just absolute fucking scum. But then, on a rare occasion, you have a Joshua that's like amazing. Like you want to have daughters just to give them to this guy's sons. Like, yes, I will pay a rich dowry for the union of our families. So that my house may be the house of this Joshua. Joshua is wise. Josh is proud. Why the fuck is he named Josh? And you can tell because they're going to call themselves Joshua. It takes a really secure, special motherfucker to these days, without having, like, you know, a Jufro, to call yourself Joshua. And see, the reason why the ones that call themselves Josh are the ones that wind up so bad starts with them thinking that Josh somehow sounds better. I don't know, maybe it's just where I live, but I've never met a Josh that I didn't hate. Just fucking guys named Josh, man, you just watch the fuck out for him. Anyways.
Holy crap.
So apparently there's a bunch of guys named Josh working at NASA. Josh and Steve and Tyler and what's some of them new names that women name their sons thinking they're manly but they're not? That's just new to you.
You know, it's just starting to get common.
Yeah, non-Irish people naming their sons Nealon. I guess Liam.
Liam.
That counts. If you're not Irish, don't fucking name your son Liam. Because he's going to get punched. And he won't like it. Because he's not fucking Irish enough. Oh, come on, there's so many comedians who can list these names. List variations on these groups. All I'm coming up with is Tyler. Because there's a special person I know named Tyler. Oh. Extra special. In fact, I'm pretty sure when he goes clothing shopping, that's the size clothing he buys. It's just extra special. It's like there's just a one size fits all for these special people that are just like him. You know. Basically the guys who did steroids up until college because they were short and didn't feel like they really had a grasp on any of the subjects they were being taught. So they wanted to get big so they could feel like men. Make their daddy proud. There you go. Tyler's a good dog name. Like, it'd have to be kind of a stupid dog, though. Then it'd be adorable. Like a dog that just chases his own tail until he accidentally bites his own balls. Oh, just ignore him. That's Tyler. Is he okay? Yeah, it's Tyler. He's fine. Oh, he's a complete idiot of a dog. Yes, perfect. That's great. So, yeah, Tyler and Josh and all their canine companions were playing Red Rover, Red Rover. Let more funding come over. But they made a mistake, in my opinion. A big fucking mistake that basically proves that this whole thing is a fraud. They found something that I don't think they should have found what they think they found. There's a type of rock that requires thousands of years of coral and organic crustacean, as an encrustment, in order to form. Else this type of rock would not exist on this planet. Anytime you find this rock, you find evidence that it is formed like so, by coral. Good God, I've got to clean the algae out of the front of this tank. But encrusting corals, hard corals, clams, snails, You see, they didn't find crystalline calcite. They didn't find basalt or chloride deposits. They didn't find any of the normal mineralistic material processes in which calcium forms large solid boulders or layers or whatever. They found bedrock. On Mars. They said this shit out loud. Bedrock. At the bottom of the crater that they were looking at. That fucking rover is on Earth.
The bump on the log that they found at the bottom of the crater.
Now, I'm aware that there are very few scientists who have theorized that limestone is the result of oceanic formation. This is a minority opinion. But it bears scrutiny is the thing. And the idea that bedrock can form without an ocean does not bear scrutiny. Now, if they weren't completely full of shit, and they didn't just accidentally reveal that there was bedrock where they were exploring, and they had, say, some actual scientific knowledge, God forbid, you know, as opposed to playing with other people's fucking equations. They would have said, here's all the proof you need of an ancient ocean on Mars. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're looking at every little rock. Oh, can we find any signs that there was an ocean here from this little pebble being turned this way and this little rock face being eroded this way? And bedrock anything of the fucking detectable consistency of bedrock, you just go and start breaking it apart, and you're gonna find clamshells and shit. And I don't know if you can picture exactly how massive ancient clam colonies and barnacle colonies and what's the gooseneck oysters? Not mussels. Mussels, oysters.
Clams.
You can see some untouched places, even today. Very few, okay, because these things have been harvested by man for thousands of years. So we have difficulty conceptualizing the magnitude, just the scope and scale that calcium chloride in the ocean, dissolved in the water, being dissolved from calcite crystals, from you know, the natural processes, or whatever you want to root everything in, whether or not it's creation or Big Bang Theory or whatever. But we can see the way calcite crystals are formed now, and we can see the way bedrock is formed now. And they're entirely different processes. If they're saying they found bedrock, then what they're saying, they're just not educated enough to realize this. What they're saying is that there is evolved life that encrusted in an ocean to form either a massive coralline bedrock structure or a clam and oyster and otherwise based bedrock structure. Depending on the level of organics, you'll have a different layer of sedimentation in bedrock. But it's basically the same way the saltwater-like fluid system in your body maintains your bone structure, and how a loss of alkalinity in your bloodstream can cause bone weakening. It's the chemistry of the ocean that causes different life forms to utilize the free-floating calcium chloride in the makeup of their organic structures. And that over time, and not much time, not as much time as you're thinking, builds the fuck up. And if you just picture the biggest oyster bed, clam bed you've ever seen, and divide that by 5,000 years of harvesting, what you'll come up with is probably 1 billion times more than you can imagine of oceanic surface, just covered in coral and oysters and clams. The big plant beds and algae beds and barren areas, that's a new thing for this planet. You understand, the ocean is already dead as far as I can see. I have thousands of years of memory to draw on. I know exactly how it's supposed to be, kids. The ocean used to be a much more vibrant place. And you don't even really have to go back 50 years to plot and track through just basic uniformitarianism. And see, if 100 years ago, 50 years ago, the ocean looked as good as it did, and you can track how much damage we've done in the past 50 years, understand that we've been polluting the ocean for over 1,000. At just about the rate that we're doing today. Chemical industry, oil, combustion, these aren't entirely new things. And they go back much further than 1,000 years. So what I'm telling you is, if you look at the coral cover difference between today and 50 years ago, If you go back 500 years ago, you'll see 100 times more. You go back 5,000 years ago, you'll see 5 million times more. In the depths, cold water, dim light corals, fragile, high mineral intensive, very specific to where they can grow. They used to grow everywhere. That's what connected the continents. We haven't damaged the environment. We've destroyed it already. This is just a barren planet waiting to happen. And just as I said that, an eagle went right over my window. Cast a shadow on it. We have golden eagles and buzzards around here. The buzzards fly more slowly, generally speaking, so I'm guessing that was an eagle. Speaking of eagles, when did seagulls get so fucking big? Like, is it just me, or like, okay, when you're little, shit seems bigger, right? Because you're little, and shit is actually bigger relative to you. But when I was little, I remember seagulls being smaller than they are now. Seagulls were like barely bigger than pigeons. They were like just like the pigeons by the ocean. When the fuck did seagulls become these giant cat-eating fucking, like, what the fuck? They got seagulls that eat pigeons. Holy shit. I'm not talking about albatross. I'm talking about fucking... They're supposed to be just seagulls. Now, I remember in Galveston, in the early 90s, when I first started seeing these big fucking seagulls. And I thought, albatross. But I was the only one in Texas who knew what a fucking albatross was. Because they had not been watching the Discovery Channel.
Were rescuers down under?
I think that hadn't come out yet there. Right before that. Right about the time of that. I think that must have been when people started to learn what an albatross was. I don't know. But I knew what an albatross was because I was from New Zealand and I watched Monty Python and I knew what a fucking albatross was. I don't know. It's like a cross between a seagull and a demon. Oh shit. Oops. Don't make fun of demons or they'll make you accidentally set fire on things, apparently, huh?
Set fire on things. Set fire on things.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
How about they set fire for things?
Okay.
Because they've got promises to keep and miles to go before they sleep. Red rum, red rum. Anyways. Bedrock. Next thing you know, they're gonna find a fucking Flintstones car. You want to look at how full of shit NASA is? How many videographers, TV producer type people do they spend how much money on? It's a con job. They should be investigated by the government. I don't think that the government as a whole even knows. Because what are they going to do? Risk sounding like a crazy person? We're just wasting billions on B movies, basically. We're spending billions of dollars to make shitty sci-fi movies. And I thank you to the fourth viewer for the fourth like. Hopefully we won't have any fourth kind owls coming at our doors. Oh, speaking of creepy owl shit. Remember the weird thing from 2011? Like the triangle in the cylinder with it just like fucking going like that. I know. We were at the fucking in the backyard. Remember in the backyard? It was like along the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's not something you can just fucking describe. It was like some triangles and a cylinder that were kind of glowing but kind of phasing in and out of reality. How would you even describe it? Like just... You know, I have a damn near photographic memory and I struggle.
There are just some things that cannot be put into words.
Well, there's this little thing I saw a YouTube video on. And it's like this little swimming, crawling thing. It kind of goes like that. I don't know if you've seen it. And it gave me the fucking creeps because it was moving just like that thing that I saw. And it just makes me wonder, was I looking at some sort of advanced piece of tech? There would have to be a vast disparity between the just idiotic pseudo-understanding of science that is publicized and how science is really understood within some sort of secret fucking technology firm. Just a vast difference. And I don't see how that's possible. Like you know, people would have to learn things from colleges, and how do they just develop a whole different fucking level of understanding of science? I mean, I know what it would take. We don't have that. To the best of my knowledge, the most educated people are completely on the wrong track, is what I'm saying. Like, they couldn't even, with what they currently think reality is, manage to discover such things. So I can only wonder what it would take to do that. But like I said, at the time, that was right before reality unfolded back there in 2011. This was one of the like around June 20th, around there, 23rd maybe, when we saw that one.
Ish.
It was before the big
Yeah.
shit thing, right? Like, yeah. Before the sky opened up and the fucking temple of fucking heaven came down. Sound got quiet. Still says 1 like on your end. Well, I will try to speak up, but it does kind of piss me off how you'll be able to hear my fish tanks going. And then I start playing the guitar and you can't hear shit. I start being entertaining or interesting. I start, vibing with the people that are here and actually, getting my mojo. And the broadcast fucks up almost every single time. Boy, they must be fucking worried to be trying to, basically what they're doing, the way they fuck with me, has a lot to do with stockpiling fake evidence of their intentions and why they don't let this channel be successful. Unfortunately for them, like I've said, oh, and it's good that the 5th viewer has joined us, because like I said, the government's been onto that little scheme for a while, and they're all too happy to just keep collecting evidence and finding more and more people and more connections to this whole fucking plot. The longer they take to make their move, the more you should be worried. Because I don't think any of y'all can afford the kind of lawyers that Paul Manafort did. And frankly, even after all that's happened to Manafort, okay? What you got to understand is they're not willing to be as harsh as they should be with him, because it would send too clear of a message as to what the ongoing investigation still entails. Oh, you didn't think of that, I'm sorry. And I waited until now to tell you. I wonder what else there is that I'm not telling you. Kind of like I'm not telling you about my logos and trademarks and patents. And I'm just sitting here saying that if anybody wants to defect and show up here with $500,000, I can easily turn that $500,000 into several $1,000,000 in just a couple of years. And I'm going to then turn that $500,000 into a business empire that is so powerful and wide-reaching and so vitally needed by societies around the globe that it will become an independent force in this world capable of regulating governments. then again, I start suggesting that one of these trolls defect, and I'm pretty sure they cut off their feed. Oh, time to rotate. Time to pop this guy up on somebody else's screen. You see, the thing is, if I didn't have enough vital product patents just waiting, none of the things that I've told you about would be enough to establish that level of a corporate empire. Just because I have the future of smartphones, just because I have the future biggest social media app, the most secure of both possible, the perfect designs, just because I have those, it would not be enough. Just because I have a plan to revolutionize the housing and real estate market, that still would not be enough. If you think those are the extent of my plans, you don't know what you're missing out on. Basically, every rich person on the planet is just wasting their fucking time right now as we speak. They're just wasting their time. The money that they're making with has no value. Their money that they're making is meaningless. You see, money doesn't give you power. Because you have something to pass on. Money doesn't give you power because you can take care of your kids. And money doesn't give you power because you can provide. Money doesn't even give you power because you can influence a little. Money doesn't even give you power because you can hire lobbyists. That's why the money you have has no power. And that's why you don't have that much money. Because there's something that none of the rich people, none of the big corporations, none of the CEOs, none of them are doing. And because they're not doing this, they have no power. Their money has no meaning. They don't understand that everything they do with their money needs to be done to protect. You don't have any power if you're providing for your children, but not protecting them. You don't have any power. Your money has no meaning if you're procuring, if you're prospering, but you're not protecting that prosperity for your posterity. You know, they say you can't take it with you. Well, the same is true for how your stewardship affects the treasures of your children. Oh, look at me, I got a private plane. Look at me, I got a yacht. I'm fucking balling. No, you're a leech. You know, you want power? You want to see what power is? As much as I don't like the historical lack of context and just the fantasy fucking fallacy of it, the movie Kingdom of Heaven demonstrates the kind of power I'm talking about. That fanciful version of Balian that they had. He was given wealth, he was given land, he was given title. But he didn't just set out to make money from it. He didn't just set out to rule it. He set out to make it better and more sustainable and more prosperous for everyone. You see, there is no difference in this universe because of the way it is written, because of the fabric that binds it together. There is no difference between what is right and just and true and what is profitable long term. Anyone who says otherwise is selling you something. Something you probably don't fucking need. You want power? You want money that means something? Rich people who think they're better than me? How much can you do with a snap of a finger? Do people know that you have God's attention? Do you have that much money and power? No, you don't. Do good. Do good with your money. And I don't mean here and there. I mean, think about the problems. Address it like a sales job. What's the problem? What's the objections? What's the obstacles? How do you fill that need? Go through it over and over again. Go through every layer about how and why people are led to apathy. In the same way they don't care about a product, make them care about the future. Because if they don't, and if you don't, everything you're doing and everything they're doing, no matter how many jets and yachts and whatever you think, proves that you're providing a future for your children. You're just wasting time. But anyways, I guess I'm all done wasting time for now. The cell phone's charging and it's not cool enough in the house right now for me to be running it while it tries to charge. It's making my hands sweat presently, so I guess that's time to end the broadcast. thank you everyone for showing up and clicking like and hanging out and chatting, and as always for watching and trying to listen and learn something. You know, I always felt like all the bullshit that I was going through and how just keenly observant I was through all of it would at least fucking be useful to somebody someday. So I'm glad y'all